Welcome guys, we are entering season 3 of Last Minute Living. You would have seen a new intro and we're going to kind of throw it back a little bit to where this all sort of started. I'm here in the office where all the behind the scenes magic happens, but we are basically going to throw it back to Coral Bay, which is where I got my first GoPro, and it was one of the big trips that we went on to begin with the Chizzos and another friend of ours who also played a part in the channel. He designed the logo and all the bits and pieces for us. So my idea is I did edit a video for our own personal sake, but now I'm going to revisit all this old footage, sort of create a bit of a story about our journey up to Coral Bay. So being 2025 guys, we want to try and make this channel a little bit bigger as well, so keep the support rolling in, but if you could drop down below what you want to see us do. So we're always looking for ideas, what you want us to do, whether it's Perth, whether it's within Australia, whether it's international, something like that. Drop down your ideas, drop down what you want to see, and we'll try our best to get on top of that. But without further ado, let's jump into the video and check out where this all started back in Coral Bay. First, we woke up nice and early at 6:30, and today we had in store a lot of driving. When I say a lot of driving, we had a lot of driving. Luckily enough, the sun was just coming up. It was a little bit cloudy in Perth, but we soon made it to some of the clear skies just north of Perth. As we continued, we headed to Geraldton, which was our first stop along the way. So we stopped for some lunch and kept punching on towards the top end. After about 8 hours driving, we hit our first campsite, which was Gladstone. Located somewhere up near Shark Bay, this was a little camp spot that uses honesty box system, $13 per adult per night, and a little bit cheaper for kids. But basically we set up camp and enjoyed the rest of our night there, admiring this spectacular sunset. Now Gladstone's got a few facilities. It's got flushing toilets, camp showers, caravan dump points, plenty of room when we were there, luckily enough. But some of the views out here are pretty spectacular as well, so do yourself a favour and pop in there if you're headed up to Coral Bay, or anywhere up north for that matter. The next morning we rose nice and early. One of the cons of sleeping in swags, we got up just before sunrise, had our brekkie, got started for the day, had a little bit of extra time, so got to relax a little bit as well and admire the scenes of Gladstone during the day. Since we did have a little bit of time, we decided to head back down to the pier, throw a rod, see what kind of luck we were going to have. Unfortunately, we didn't really have too much luck, but not a bad morning. As we continued on, we had about another 4 hours drive before we reached Coral Bay. So we jumped in our cars, packed up our camp and headed north. To where now we reached Coral Bay. Our plan was to stay in a backpackers for the 5 or so nights that we were up here, but the first thing we had to do was hit the beach. This beach is called Five Fingers and it's a little bit south from Coral Bay. And I tell you what, this is probably one of the best beaches that I've been to. You'll find out why a little bit later in this video, but we just decided to pull up, set up camp, and then watch the sun go down to finish our first day in Coral Bay. There was a bit of a storm brewing, but we were pretty happy with our gazebo setup. We threw up a wall to block the wind a little bit, sat down, had some drinks, a few little snacks, and settled in to the Coral Bay weather. As the sun started to go down, we headed for a bit of a walk to check out some of the low-lying reef that was around. As you can see, as the tide's gone down, little bits of rock started to appear, and there's plenty of reef out there, just offshore. As the sun started to go down, we were faced with some pretty awesome colours in the sky. And to this day, this is probably one of the best sunsets that I've ever seen. Something about the top end just seems to put on a light show every night. At the close of day 1 in Coral Bay, day 2 found me and Marslin waking up nice and early to shoot to Exmouth. Since we'd driven all that way, we decided that we were going to do a whale shark tour, and there was no way we were missing out. We had a little bit of time before the boat left, so we went down to a beach just to check out the sunrise from Exmouth. On our time at the water, we found plenty of whales, not to mention the whale sharks, which is what we were there for. Within about half an hour, they'd already spotted sharks and we were in the water swimming with some of these magnificent beasts. The first shark that we encountered was about 7 meters, which is pretty big for around the Ningaloo region. Marslin caught some wicked footage when he popped his head down and found himself a little too close to the whale shark. These things, although being so big, are really quick. So a lot of the time we spent filming, we didn't realise that we had to swim as well. Here are some photos that the photographer that came along with us took as we were swimming along with this whale shark. We were lucky enough to have really good visibility and a lot of sharks too. These last few images that you're seeing here is what we found at the end of the day when we went to a little spot and snorkeled, just for a little bit of fun. All in all, definitely would do it again. Although it's expensive, it is such an experience to jump in with some of these magnificent creatures. Moving on to the next day, we pretty much went to Coral Bay's sanctuary. In here you'll find plenty of fish, lots of coral, and plenty to see and do. We then decided that we were going to jump in our cars, head up the beach, and see how far we could get. We got to the end, which was pretty much a dune system. We decided it was time to turn back after having some lunch, so we shot back to Coral Bay to enjoy our next night indoors. Now, coming to Five Fingers, this is what it's all for. This was some of the best snorkeling that I've ever been able to do off a beach, and it is literally a couple of steps in and this is what you get to see. The water was unreal, there was plenty of fish, heaps of coral, nothing like I'd ever seen before. We had so much fun swimming around, having a look at all the different coral and fish, and this is what the trip was really for. Lucky enough, Coral Bay has got some unreal weather, so if you're heading up that way, definitely check out Five Fingers. Five Fingers would have to be one of my top 5 places to visit in WA so far. So we decided to end our trip by sitting here, kicking back on our last day of Coral Bay and enjoy another top end sunset. As the story goes, all good things must come to an end, and on our way back we parked up at Calbarri to spend the night before heading back to Perth. We went and checked out the nature reserve out there and admiring their new skywalk. No Calbarri trip is complete without a trip to Nature's Window. This is found at the same place where the skywalk is located. It's just a little bit of a walk until you get down to the rocky outcrop where you'll find Nature's Window. There is also a bigger hike which goes right down into the gorge, but we didn't have time for that. As you can see, there was some storms rolling in, which we got hit with on the drive out of the national park. Either way, it was worth dropping in and spending our night just to finish up and head back to Perth the next day. Alright, well that's it guys, that is Coral Bay. That was obviously a lot before the YouTube, so there was no talking, no explanation of what was going on. But I did my best to do a bit of voiceover and sort of paint a little bit of a picture. So I hope you enjoyed. If you are headed up that way, we went I think around August, so we were lucky we had some pretty good conditions, not too much rain. I don't think we got any at Coral Bay. It was mainly leaving Perth and then sort of returning to Perth, which is quite ironic, but that's pretty much how it went. It's a little bit of an insight of what we got up to quite a few years ago now. But anyway, Happy New Year everyone. Obviously this will be the first video going out in the new year. I have been really busy doing a lot of other stuff at work, at home. I've been doing a lot of work around the house, so I haven't really got too many videos together, but I will continue to work hard and we'll get some videos out for you guys. So stick around, I'll try my best, fingers crossed, to get some content out for you guys. But like I said, if you could drop some things down below, I'm happy to go check out some locations around Perth if you want me to check them out. So I'll be doing that. I do have a few little trips and things planned throughout this year, so stay tuned for that. But if not, let us know what you want to see, and we'll see you on the next episode. Get out there, explore guys, and work out the rest later. Catch you later.